morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the Armoury. Welcome to the Arsenal match review. Finished Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. Normally, I am the preview host, so this is all new to me. So bear with me. I've got it in my head what I'm going to be doing, but we've got two wonderful guests. I'm going to leave my pod bro to last because my pod bro's always here. But Chris, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, very good. Pleased after yesterday's result. Good to get back in the winning camp. It's been a while, so always good to get one over a London rival, especially Chelsea. And long may their reign of terror for all the wrong reasons from their perspective continue, as ours for all the right reasons continues as well. So yeah, can't complain.
Awesome. Brenny, my pod bro. We're back again,
What's
mate.
happening? Yeah,
how are you feeling after last night?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. My only regret was that we didn't get 7. It was because they were there for the taking, and that was a thing. You know, I've already cooked a few Chelsea fans today, and again, I had to tell them on YouTube. Even one of my workmates, he's older than me, and he didn't believe that they got relegated back in '88. I'm like, come on, man, know your history, man. Know your history. You know, so many of these fans are in denial, you know, when you talk about Middlesbrough. You know what I mean? And Ayresome Park. You bring those words up, they're like, huh? What? You know what I mean? And to them, they think Middlesbrough's, oh, yeah, Gareth Southgate played for them, didn't he? And that's all they know. But yeah, we should have more goals, man. More goals. But I'm happy with the 3 points, don't get me wrong. But all I will say before we carry on is, King, man, I see you last night, man. I was getting jokes, man. Keep that hat on, right? Because you keep that hat on match days, man. We're gonna win the rest of our games, okay? And we'll see where it takes us.
Might have to be honest, yeah, it's been my lucky hat ever since, you know. So yeah, man. Yeah, it was good. Good yesterday. I got down by the stadium, went to the supporters trust bar beforehand. But yeah, the stadium atmosphere was fairly buzzing, given our most recent results. So yeah, I'm down here now, so looking forward to kind of getting to as many more games before the end of the season and loads next season. It's going to be much more the same.
Likewise. Likewise.
To be honest, I think next season we should get more excited. I hear so many good things happening in the summer, so let's just fingers keep them crossed. But big up to Lucas in the house. He liked your AFT fan cam, GunnerKing, saying evening all. 100% Brenny. We've been thrashed so many times by the likes of Chelsea, United, Liverpool, and City just last week. Be nice if we dished out a thrashing of our own.
Yeah,
GunnerKing was at the pub. I saw Twitter lies. Let's move on from that. Right, let's get into the actual game. Obviously finished 3-1 to the Arsenal, but let's go into the starting lineup. And because it's me, you know me, I do slides. I love slides. Right, so this is the team that Mikel Arteta actually chose. He went for Ramsdale, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Xhaka, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, and Jesus. Brenny, when you saw the lineup, what did you think?
I looked at that and I thought Jorginho, was happy to see him in the lineup because look, man, Party's my boy, man. But he deserved to get dropped on his recent performances. I thought, well, give Jorginho a chance. Why not? You know, we got him in a January window. He adds a bit of experience to the team, and I thought he played really well last night. Did a fantastic job in holding it together. You know, the glue kept it well, and you know, and he can spray passes too. He's not quick, but he reads the game well. So I was happy to see him in the lineup. Kiwior, I was surprised to see him in the lineup, but I thought he played well last night. Played very well. Yeah. You know, Trossard as well. He did bits as well, and I like the way at times he was kept coming in and he was interchanging with Granit Xhaka on that left hand side. And I was in the end it it was the right move. It was the right moves. It was right 11 at the end because we won the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it paid off.
On the preview that most of us dropped Party. A couple of us chose Kivior to start and in that position as well. But the only difference with the people that chose Kivior, they put Tierney at the back just for a bit more stability. But to be fair, last night, apart from Zinchenko's error, our backline didn't really get tested that much, really.
No.
You can say what you want to say about Chelsea, but our backline looked stable. I thought Kivior was brilliant. GunnerKing, what did you think of the starting lineup when you saw it, mate?
I was surprised with the inclusion of Kivior. Jorginho maybe less so because maybe Party's been a bit off the boil. I have felt like Kivior has needed some game time. I've said to invert him on the left-hand side and then kind of use Party as the right back who would invert into midfield. So I was toying with the idea of his inclusion, but we know he's an actual centre-back. He's played as DM as well. So good thing about that and Kivior's performance yesterday. And listen, I get into Arsenal fans a lot. Ones that watch Vieira play when he hasn't started a Premier League game for months. Watch him suddenly get thrown in against Southampton, the pressure's on. Watch him have a game and say he's rubbish. He's barely had a run of games. How can you judge him? And I think Kivior, I think the same happened. He's played 1 or 2 games here or there. People have been like, he's not like the house on. These players need time. Didn't have a full pre-season. Neither of them had the benefit of it. Obviously, Vieira came in with a protective boot, so he couldn't participate in pre-season. Kivior's come in January, so he's come at a time when the defence is very settled, rested. Everyone's performing to their peak level, so he's not really getting a look in. And when you just come to a new country, a new league, you're taking a step up from Spezia to playing for Arsenal. You want to get those minutes as quickly as possible to really kind of cement any kind of confidence in you and your play. Not just for the manager and your other players, but for the fans as well. So I thought he came in yesterday, and I thought he was exceptional. And I know Chelsea are in a bad way, but I think by the 25th, 30th minute, he had made 5 or 6 interceptions, a couple of key passes as well. Very good at passing out from the back. And the key thing that I keep banging on about, relative to Holding, he's a lot more mobile, a lot less static. He's got that one-on-one ability that Holding has. But off the ball, when the ball's played into the channel or people are trying to play it behind him, or someone's trying to fizz it into a midfielder's feet and he could kind of move up the pitch, take a risk, be aggressive, sort of defend from the front foot by moving into the midfield to push our lineup. He was doing all of these things, and it kind of gave us the functionality, particularly in the first half. It gave us the functionality of our normal midfield shape and build-up, where these elements are key. Like if the ball's played into the channels, Saliba can run across. If Ben White's gone forward, Gabriel can do the same if Zinchenko has been caught forward. And as I said, in terms of the midfield, they can step up into the midfield and defend aggressively in that area as well. And just composed, passing out the back well. I do think in the second half, the team as a whole kind of took their foot off the gas, and that probably invited more pressure on us. So there probably was a few nervy moments in there from him, but I think overall he had a good performance, and he showed me what he's capable of if he's given time and patience to develop. I think there's more to see from him. And I was very pleased with his performance, in particular yesterday. But Jorginho as well. When he came in January, my reservations were, can he play in that kind of lone pivot role? Does he have the mobility in himself, to be able to kind of cover big spaces, in the channels either side of him or behind him? If the ball's a bit in front of him, can he meet the ball? And if he doesn't make it, is he going to leave space behind him? These were all the questions I was asking. But when you've got Zinchenko kind of tucking into that midfield, now I know he was caught out of position for the goal and was probably ball watching, went to sleep for the goal. But obviously, for the majority of the 90 minutes where he's on the pitch, because he's tucking in almost next to Jorginho, and Gabriel and Hero can get a bit closer to him, or Ben White from the other side as well. It just kind of offers him that protection. So he was picking up the ball and just picking up passes, maybe it's 5-yard ones, mid-range ones, playing clip balls and longer balls into the box. He was putting his body between ball and man a lot as well to make interceptions. And it just shows how well he does read the game. So I thought they both came in and did quite well. I even think, even though Trossard, didn't get a goal or an assist, I think he performed well as well. Stretched the pitch a lot, was involved in a lot of link-up play on the left-hand side. So, all in all, I was very pleased for the players that came in, not just for their performance, but I think for them. And I think moving forward, as a bit of a hindsight for this season, I think Arteta needs to be trusting these players more. Even if they have a bad performance, like as weird as it sounds, let them play it out. Like give them another game, give them a bit of a run, so they can kind of build up that confidence. And I think, I don't want to say we haven't got much to play for, but now the pressure's off. Like it's expected that City will probably go on and win all their games. Why not give these players minutes, so they can take that into next season and kind of build on that, so that when they are called upon, like in this situation, and it was the same last season, Tavares and Lokonga, when Partey and Tierney got injured, they were called upon later in the season. They hadn't had much minutes earlier on in the season, and in those pressure moments, they buckled because of it. So why not give these players minutes? Get them up to speed now. Get them up to scratch. They've clearly got the quality. Whether it's for the short term or the long term, with Jorginho, right now he is bringing something to the table when he plays. Trossard as well, and Kirill. I think, especially with our defenders at the moment. Listen, I'd sooner give him minutes than persist with holding. Tony, if you're watching, it's not a holding agenda, bro. It's you could clearly see our defensive line was higher again, and it helped us kind of keep more of a compact shape because of it. These are the clear advantages of having, mobile players that are good on the ball, and Kyrie is clearly that at the back as well. So, yeah, all in all, I was very happy.
Yeah, thankfully I was joined by James on the watch along last night, and he was watching Kivior more than I was, because obviously I was ahead of him in time, and so he was watching Kivior, and me and him have been very big callers for him. We think he's brilliant. We've seen him at the Spezia. We know about him before he came here. So yeah, I'm
watched him a few times in Poland as well, because I watched him, throughout the World Cup. He's very good for them as well. So
Yeah, I'm a happy bunny. I think he's the perfect replacement for when Saliba's injured, or a rotation player for Saliba. I'm not 100% sure if those two could ever play together. That's my only issue, but it's not a really big issue, because that means because we are being linked with centre backs, and say if it's Mark Gay, that's the latest link. Then we've got 4 very good quality centre backs that we can rotate, and as me and
2
Brenny
right ones, 2 left ones as well.
Exactly.
So you've got good balance.
It's just a beautiful thing, and me and Brenny have been, because we do most of the previews, we've been saying about rotation for ages, haven't we, Brenny?
Yeah,
it needs to happen.
100%.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, if you look at Saliba and Tomiyasu, Saliba, it was his first season, and all of a sudden he was playing a lot of minutes. First Prem season. He's been on loan at Saint Etienne, didn't play a full season because of COVID. The following season, he wasn't loaned out until later on in the season. So his first full season, injury was probably always going to happen if he wasn't rotated. And when you look at City, it's Diaz, Stones, Laporte, Akanji, and Ake. 5 centre-backs that they've rotated throughout the season. I think Diaz and Laporte started the season injured. Stones has been injured throughout the season at different points. Ake is now injured. They rotated him for Akanji. It didn't look like it made any difference when we played City. So this is kind of the routine we're going to have to get into. We might as well just start trusting these players now, because they're going to need to be called upon, because I think that's what's let us down this season. If we do lose the title, that's that game against Sporting, where Tomiyasu and Saliba have gone out at the same time.
Yeah.
You look at the form difference, and very telling. So, what we've got to get used to.
Well, we had that, didn't we? 30 odd years ago under George Graham era with the centre halves, and you could rotate. You know what I mean? It'd be a case of you could rest Tony Adams, you had Martin Keown coming in, or you could rest,
Right.
or even before, it was around the time when Keown came back to the club in '93, and we still had David O'Leary before he retired. So you could rely on David O'Leary. He wasn't as quick, but he was still solid. You know what I mean? And Steve Bold, you could rotate Andy Lincoln, you could rotate all of them, even under Arsene Wenger as well. It was the same where you still had Bold, you still had Keown, you had Tony Adams, and because he was surrounded by quality players, Matthew Upson even came in and did a job as well. So you had that. But I will not talk about the time though with Stepanos and Grimondi when they got together, because we know what happened there, and I'm not going to bring that up. So but we did have that. We had that influx of centre halves where you could just rotate, and it'd be great to get back to that next season, because that's look, we know every position's important, but centre halves.
You know what they say, right? They say goals win games and defenses win titles, right?
That's right.
So I think this is why, Kirill, I'm a big advocate of you. There does arise a situation where it just looks like it's out of our hands. I just think from now, give him a run of games, and I'm hearing Gabriel's injury might keep him out against Newcastle. So let's just use him.
He's out for Newcastle, is it?
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible, yeah. And that injury didn't look good when he came off, because he tried to play on with it.
They should have taken him off. The game was done. They should have taken him off.
I think it was him as well. I think it was Gabriel really that was
that wanted to stay on the pitch.
Yeah, but team doctor's orders, you have to get him off. Gary O'Driscoll has to get him off. Simple as that.
Yeah.
It happened. Was it Bednarek against? Was it against us? Where
against us, yeah.
And he was adamant of staying on. But at the end of the day, team doctor says no, get off.
He was fully knocked out. He was concussed. You could see it. Yeah. So I think because it was leg injury, I see it from walk it off. But yeah, I don't think it was wise. So yeah, look, this gives an opportunity for Kirill to come in and show what he can do.
Yeah. Guys, I will get into the other comments because most of them are about a West Ham game. We'll get into those, but I do like this one from Tony. Let's call up Jem Beattie and Women Moy. Big up to the Arsenal women. I love them to bits. To be fair, Jem Beattie, I know we should talk about Arsenal women now, but her coming in after Williamson's injury, from such a long layoff as well. She's been out for so long. She's done brilliant, absolutely fantastic. But yeah, big up. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the game a little bit more now. So I've got some first half stats, the ones that I mainly look at for myself because I think they're important. So the first half stats for possession was 57 for Arsenal, 43 for Chelsea. Shots, 8 for the Arsenal, 2 for Chelsea. The passes, very important. 328 for the Arsenal, 252, 89% possession accuracy for Arsenal. The long balls was very interesting. I noticed this. 11 to 16, which was 69% accuracy. Chelsea tried 20 and only got 8. And you'll see in the second half how that changes, and it's very interesting. The XG was 0.93. I don't like it. A lot of people do, so I'm putting it out there for you. Possession loss 57 times 51. Now, obviously, we've scored 2 fantastic goals as well. Well, 3 fantastic goals, but 2 of them I was just happy with because of Odegaard mainly. So we're going to go with the first goal. Granit Xhaka assist. What a beautiful hit by Odegaard. Now, a lot of people have said this season he needs to add goals to his game. My word, did he put them on yesterday. They were just beautiful finishes. Brenny, I know I lost it on the watch along. I was like, yes. What did you think of Odegaard overall yesterday? Because I just thought he was sublime.
he was our best player yesterday, not just in them goals. His all-round play. He wanted the ball. You know what? When I know last week, we all know what happened last week, but he wasn't given the opportunity to even receive the ball, even if he went looking for it. That's just how good City were. But he showed yesterday the quality that he has, and that first strike, I was like, yeah, I didn't jump for joy, but the second goal, I was like, woo! I went absolutely crazy. But it was Granit Xhaka's work, and you know, in the build-up as well, it was a case of he went over to the left quite a bit yesterday and very effectively. You know, every time Xhaka went forward, something was happening. You know, and it's no surprise that he was involved in all 3 goals. But it was just a sweet ball, 2 sweet balls. But yeah, it was just, you know what? When it hits the crossbar, man, you're like, yeah, sweet. You know what I mean? You know, but yeah, it was a great finish, and I think there's still more to come in these final what we've got 4 games left. Yeah. You know, there's more to come.
There is. GunnerKing, we'll go on to Jesus' third goal. What did you make of his performance yesterday? Because obviously he's taken a bit of stick again as well. Because a lot of people went for Eddie on the preview for some reason. I don't know why, but I thought Jesus was played brilliantly yesterday again. What did you make of him yesterday and his goal?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Jesus' performance is very good. Like, he always works hard. You know, I just think the layman judges him on the wrong thing. You know, like, it's just like, oh, he's a striker, so we want to see goal output. Like, people don't realize that there are orthodox roles that you ask strikers to play, and he is like, he's not a traditional out striker, and he shouldn't be judged as such. Like, he's an orthodox one. You know, like, in our build-up, he actually drops deeper than Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli. You know, and what he's essentially doing is drawing players out of position. You know, so that they can get into the vacated space and get into goal-scoring positions themselves, because they are better finishers than him. Saka and Martinelli, especially Odegaard as well. You look at their goal output; it's not lying. You know what I mean? So, I thought he played his role very well yesterday. I thought, you know, he worked very hard, very busy, pressing defenders really well. You know, good link-up play, back, front to goal. You know, kind of give and going. You know, passing, moving into the channels as well, particularly the left-hand side, kind of double up with Trossard, whereas Odegaard and Saka will kind of double up with our build-up play on the right-hand side. And, you know, kind of connecting those 2 silos together. That's what Jesus' role is. You know what I mean? And, yeah, like, in the box, you know, he was just alive, you know, like, alert to any sniff, any danger. You know, typical kind of poacher's finish. And I feel that's where Jesus can get goals more. You know what I mean? I think he's very, very instinctive, good reflexes, good positionally. He has an awareness of, like, where to be. I think that's where Jesus will get a lot of joy when it comes to, like, increasing his goal output, is just knowing where to be in the box. And he kind of did just that. You know, kind of didn't give up, was very persistent. And yeah, he led the line very well again yesterday, I thought, you know, and I think it does still seem like he's a bit leggy, like he's still trying to play fitness into his legs, if I'm being honest, you know, and that's normal, you know. So I do feel that's another thing that the layman doesn't really account for, you know, when they're looking at the performances of players when they come back from injuries, you know, like, you know, all these football manager simulations and FIFA games make people think that people just come back from injury and then they just, like that, just switch a light on, you know, like, resume form as normal. You know, anyone that's played football, no, that's not how it works. You know, like, you know, you're not going to kind of go into 50-50s with the same gusto because you're a bit alive to the fact that you had an injury in a certain area. So that's, if you're someone like Jesus who presses very intensely, and that's a big part of your game, you're going to be a little apprehensive, if that makes sense, you know, like, because you are kind of coming back, you want to kind of protect your body, make sure it doesn't, like, go into a stage of reoccurrence of any injury. And yeah, like just the stamina, building up the match fitness, having that bit of sharpness, like when you're kind of like using your reflexes to react to certain situations because you haven't got that match sharpness. There's like a couple of fractions of a millisecond that will be missing that you haven't got for continuity of game rhythm. So I think people have been harsh on him, in my opinion, since he's come back. That's my honest opinion. I just think our fan base, we got so much PTSD. We can be quite reactionary, and I don't think he's been half as bad as people have said he is. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I do think it's just because of these things. People not compensating for injury and him coming back from that. People not compensating for the fact that they're judging him on the merit of an out and out 90 striker. Probably looking at someone like Haaland, like, oh, he's not going to get you 20, 30, 40 goals. He's not very good. But like, you've got to use your eye a bit more and less of the statue to really kind of appreciate what Jesus does. For anyone that was watching him on the eye yesterday, it was another good performance.
I thought so personally. And what Brenny was saying on about earlier that we wish we went for 7. Now, what I would say about Arsenal's performance yesterday, we went up to about the 40th minute and then we kind of went into third gear again. And the stats back that up. And this is why what GunnerKing says totally accurately. Use your eyes, use the stats to back your statements up.
Yeah, together. Yeah.
But you use your eyes first. Don't you let the stats overrule your eyes. No matter if you disagree with the person next year, that's absolutely fine because you can have different opinions. But use your eyes, trust your eyes. That's what I'll always say. And it frustrates me when people just use stats to back their story. But use your eyes first, guys. Second half stats. Now, this is what I find very important. The long ball. We'll go straight into the long ball. The possession pretty much didn't change. Shots didn't change, apart from Chelsea had a few more chances. Passes, heck of a lot dropped. But like I said, we went into third gear for me. But the long ball, we continued to do it. But this time our accuracy was horrible. 35% accuracy with the long balls. 65 for Chelsea. So again, they actually improved a little bit. Obviously, they got their goal through Madueke, and I don't know if Brenny, you remember, he was one of my 1 to 5 to watch.
Yeah,
I love the kid. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I would have loved to have him at Arsenal.
He's an Arsenal fan as well.
Yes, he is. That might be some, yeah. But watch out for Noni. Honestly, I think he's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, second half. Are you okay? I'm going to ask you both the same question. I'm going to start with Brenny with his answer. Are you getting frustrated that we just don't go for the jugular? And I know it sounds harsh because, but for me, I want to I do want to score 7 against someone at some point. I want us to go full pelt for 90 minutes. Just sometimes. Not all the time. I know we can't do it. Just sometimes. I think yesterday we could have got 7 easily. Brenny, what do you reckon?
Yeah, we could have got 6, could have got 7 yesterday. I wanted us to get a few more goals. And also, if we were playing Newcastle Friday night, then I could understand. And I would leave, I'd be, all right, just the game's won. Just keep it tight. You know what I mean? We've got another game on Friday night, but we're not playing them till Sunday. So I thought, and after what Chelsea, I know it's a different side, but what Chelsea did to us years ago at the Bridge, they when they gave us that 6, and I'm like, you know what? Let's really, really hurt them because we had a chance. If you remember a few seasons back, we were 3-0 up against them at the Emirates, and then we sat back. And I'm like, and during then I was like, nah, man, just, you know what I mean? Get 5, get 6. Also, I tend to find is that when we used to hammer teams under Arsene Wenger, not so much Graham, but under Arsene Wenger, you know what? It would get whoever we were facing up next, it would get them thinking, whoa, these aren't messing about, man. Because I don't know what Newcastle are going to make of us now that we've won our first league game in 5. But I thought if we'd have had 5, 6, 7, they'd be thinking, psychologically, they'd be thinking, oh, they'd be a little concerned.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're concerned now, maybe. But I just find that sometimes the more goals you score, it just opposition, they think about it, but it's like, but it doesn't always happen. I mean, just ask Bournemouth when they beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's just that's what I wanted. I mean, but other than that, don't get me wrong. Like I said already earlier, I'm happy with the 3 points. But
Yeah.
I thought this is one of the worst Chelsea teams I can remember since I was a kid. And even then they were awful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and if any Chelsea fans watching now, yes, you got relegated to in '88, but on a serious note, yeah, we should have scored more goals, man.
Yeah. Well, I will say to what Brenny just said about the bad Chelsea team, they're not bad players. Their performance is atrocious, and I've obviously you all know I do watch-alongs for a full-time sports network, so I've watched a lot of Chelsea, and they've been awful all season. I can't understand it. I really just can't. But so the same question to you, GunnerKing, about this going for the jugular. Is it starting to frustrate you a little bit that we just don't go for it?
No, and the way I look at this team is very much a team that is iteratively in transition still. And I think what we do is we expected to be in a top 4 race. Now we're in a title race. So like a lot of like our fans and even rivals are like, oh yeah, like you've rebuilt your squad. We haven't. What we've done is we're about 60 to 70% rebuilt, and because we're ahead of schedule, it gives this illusion that we're this finished article. We're just not. Like you look at the age range. I think Southampton are the only team in the league with an average age younger squad. We've got like the 4th youngest average age squad in Europe. So when you've got that amount of players that are at an age where they are considered like still in their development phases, you're not just talking about their technical ability. You're not just talking about their ability with the football. You're not just talking about their fitness. What you're talking about is what goes on in here, like the mental side of the game. Yeah. And what we need to understand, right, is effectively there are a lot of kids out there. Like they've become men and they're playing like beyond their years, and I'm very happy with them. But they're still learning. This situation that they're in now, this pressure, going for a league title. It's one thing to be in a title race. It's another when you play for a team that expects to be in a title race season on season and hasn't been for 2 decades. You know what I mean? Chasing something that they haven't achieved for 2 decades, which isn't good enough for this club. Of the fan base and the expectations that comes with. I feel like the players are burdened by it. I think it works 2 ways. I think Saka, they say pressure makes diamonds. And I think what we've seen with players like Saka, Martinelli is, like they've been put under intense pressure when we were 8th and 5th. The senior players weren't stepping up. So they were getting given game time, but they were also getting given more responsibility. They were getting given, sort of more favor, and they were growing in stature within that squad, in terms of like their presence and, their sort of place in the hierarchy of that squad. And I think, you could say it's come a bit too quickly for some of them, but the thing is they'll figure it out. I think what you'll find is these experiences, much like when you do your weightlifting, you kind of work your way up. You start low, you maybe do more reps, and then as you get stronger, you can like kind of play around with like sort of doing more of a max rep. That's how your mind works. It's a muscle. You know what I mean? I think what these guys are doing in the most recent games, they've been 2-0 up and given away 2-0 leads, and it could prove costly in this title race, and they know that. Like, so now, I think the Liverpool game started this domino effect, because if if we had played Liverpool and there had been 2 or 3 other games between that game before we played West Ham where we had gone 2-0 up, we wouldn't have thought about it. And we wouldn't have taken our foot off the gas because we wouldn't have been like, right, now we need to protect the lead. We can't have happen what happened last week. Do you know what I mean? We can't have that happen again. But unfortunately, what that does is it plays into the hands of the opponent because the opponent then sees you kind of inviting them onto you. And it's all about finding that balance between how much of that either way you can get away with. Because you do need to sort of have that mentality where you do, against good opposition, like you do need to protect leads in certain situations. There's other situations where you need to just keep going and go for the jugular. I think what these guys are doing is they're figuring that out, and I think they're doing that now. And I think we need to kind of give them a bit of a bit of clemency, like in doing it, because I think a lot's happened. With Saliba's injury, how that's affected the other teammates. When you know what you're capable of, and you're missing a key component, and it's affecting your performances in a negative way, like it's going to have a negative impact on the mentality of the players of the team anyway. So when you factor these things all working together, overlapping and intersecting, I think what we need to realize is that if you consider how many times have you said this season, a season or two ago, we lose that game? The Bournemouth game. Leicester, when it was 3-1, and then they brought it back to 3-2 with a Maddison goal. A season or two, they might go back and equalise. We just went and got another one. The Fulham game, it was a 1-0. Gabriel made a careless mistake, but then he goes and scores the 83rd minute winner at the other end. A season ago, we might have drawn or lost that game. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you look at it from that perspective, you can see there is a shift in this team's mentality. But I just think we need to realise that there's still a bit of a way to go in that, and it will come. And I think the things that will help us in our ability and our confidence mentally to kind of see out games by either shutting up shop or going for the jugular, and doing that in either way that we choose, is bringing in more experience, more quality, and more depth. Because when you have these things, when you have that belief in not just yourself, but all the other players around you, and not just the first 11 that are on the pitch, the 5 to 6 that are on the bench as well. And then the manager has that. So if he has to switch things around, to help you either continue to go for the jugular or defend the lead, then he's going to be able to help you with that as well, because he's going to be confident with the players he's got on the bench, and they're going to be confident coming off the bench. All of that breeds into the confidence, and therefore, I think positively has an impact on the mentality of the players, and being able to have that self-belief, almost that arrogance. It does border on it, to be like, you know what, we're not even done with 3. We're just going to we're not going to change our game. We're not going to deviate. We're just going to play as normal. And if it becomes a rugby score, it wouldn't surprise us. And I do think Arsenal will get to that state, but I just think we need a bit more patience with the players we've got.
Fair enough. Yep. Right, so before we go into the player ratings, because we will do that in a shortly, I'm just going to go through the comments because they have built up, and big up to everyone that's done them. Bob, is it true that Nelson has rejected our contract offer? Don't believe everything you read in the papers. That's all I would say about that. If he had rejected, he wouldn't have come on last night. That's all I'm going to say on that. Big up to, come on, your irons, exactly, Tony. That game is playing as far as I know. Afternoon, evening, everyone.
Score in that game.
Say that again, sorry.
Is it still 0-0?
Yes, it's 0-0 because I've actually got it on another screen just so keep an eye on it. I need to hear some hammers ringing tonight. The team has gone quite weak tonight. There's an illness going for the West Ham squad. So I remember
that's not good.
GunnerKing's anger. So I thought I was going to say goalkeeper then. GunnerKing's anger when we were linked with Jorginho, but we'd love to be. We do, and I was chill about it. To be fair,
totally wrong. And the thing is that it is because when Zinchenko inverts and tucks in, he helps a lot, man. He's shielding the ball as well, and he's a lot more mobile than Jorginho. It supports him. Like, and that was something Gums has said. I probably noticed as well. But yeah, look, I can't complain. He's. I think he was very good yesterday. One of our best players as well. I know Brenny said Odegaard, but I think he was in there with a shout. And I think Kiro was up there as well with our best performers.
Talking about man in the match, Tony has set up a poll on YouTube to vote for your man of the match. So I will check that at the end of the stream. Luke saying no, Rice, Suchek, and Agerd. So, Luke, that team seems asking out. Yep. Tony's saying they're going to get cooked. 100% King on Kivior and Holding. Holding probably will have to play now away to Newcastle. Arteta, please don't throw him under the bus and play differently. 100%. Tony's selling Tommy Galasu. Big up to King's Football Show. First half were amazing. Was so poor. It didn't feel like a derby. Chelsea just awful this season. I still need to pop the tags off my pink kit. It looks great on the panel list. I may wear it this week. This is the training. I love the training kit. I absolutely love this. And GunnerKing's got the. To be fair, sometimes your one looks white. Right now, it looks white. It's quite a nice one actually because it doesn't look too pink.
It's probably the light in it. I might switch it on actually.
Yeah. I thought Odegaard was our striker. Odegaard is a superstar in the making. Simple. Yeah, £30 million bargain. Odegaard said you want to go. Where you go exactly. We still need a proper striker. Let's just wait and see what happens in the summer. That's all I'm saying. First time striking was crisp. No extra chops. Just beautiful. I don't care about what the Chelsea result. Where was it, Red? I do agree with that. Where was that performance when we actually needed it? But they're still growing. Like we've all said, this is above most of our expectations at the beginning of the season.
This narrative. So what? It wasn't needed yesterday. Like to kind of keep any hope alive. Like, was it not still a pressure moment? Like, it's a London derby. You don't want to lose face. You've not lost to any other opponent in London this season. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where this notion comes from that yesterday's game was one that didn't matter. Like, just if I'm being honest. Like,
every game matters to me. It's an Arsenal. Yeah. Me and Brenny are the same. We expect an Arsenal win. Exactly. Every game matters to me. I never want us to lose.
Even in the League Cup, every game.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to be on that next season. I guarantee anyone that goes weak, I'm going to jump for you. I tell you. Losing 1-0 in the second half is an embarrassment. We can't be doing this against Championship side. Tony make excuses. Said these players are good enough to kill teams. I do believe yesterday we could have absolutely just annihilated them. Personally, if we got 4 or 5 by half time, I think that Chelsea wouldn't have come out second half. They would have just gone.
Yeah, like I mean, look, I don't think it's an issue of like ability. I just think like more recent results, like injuries, like like kind of stuff that's probably flying around in the media and the papers, like sort of about like our more recent performances, like. All of these things are bound to have affected players mentally, and like a lot of people will say this is like an excuse reel. This is just a reality. This is how the human mind works. Do you know what I mean? Like if in any walk of life, like in our jobs, whatever our professions are, if we know that our performances have been called into question, like more recent work shifts or whatever, we're not going to take as many risks. Because we know we're going to be under a more watchful eye, right? And that's going to that Hawthorne effect, as it's called, is almost going to have like an effect on your confidence and how you approach certain situations. And that's all I think it is. But the thing is, the more you go through that, the more you can actually withstand. Yeah. If that makes sense, because you like gone through it and you've been like, I've been down this road before. Do you know what I mean? Where like people have asked questions about me, and I answered them last time. It just becomes more of a routine to do that. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Minerals here saying it was too late. Not going to lie. West Ham have had 28% possession so far, 0 shots. Lads, would you take Ivan Toney? Quick yes or no, Brenny? Would you take him?
Yes, I'd take him.
I'd take him as well. Would you take Ivan Toney? Yes or no? Quickly, GunnerKing.
Absolutely.
There you
Yeah.
go. Sorted.
Sure.
There's your answer. The silver one now, they've had a shot. Okay. Minerals, I'm taking a gamble on Tony all day, every day. I will leave Barbados one for a minute. Oh, no, he's already come back. Right. Okay. Gunner Queen, you found your voice again from Barbados MUFC. I have no idea. I've seen his name before. I can't remember where I've seen it. This is obviously something to do with the Man United agenda, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably agenda. Yeah, I know. Obviously, I've not been on the Armoury for a bit, but it's nothing to do with hiding, mate. It's circumstances, mate. Like, yeah,
Tony's saying it's clean doesn't have TikTok. Yeah, because I to be fair, I see GunnerKing loads on TikTok.
And my Twitter as well. Yeah,
exactly. So I know he hasn't been hiding.
Well.
Tony's calling him Tiny Phil. Now that's Tony's words. I don't know if you're tiny. I don't know if your name's Phil, but that's Tony's words for you. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on before we start a fight between the Man United agenda and us. Right. So we're going to rate them now. I'm going to let you two decide, but if you need a referee, I will take the third vote. So we're going to start with Ramsdale. Rating, Brenny?
Ramsdale, 7 for me. Apart from he didn't really have a lot to do.
No. GunnerKing? Ramsdale?
Yeah, well, I think 7. If I could do a half, I'd maybe do a half score. I think that's
no half allowed.
That save from Chilwell in the first half was world class, like exceptional. Yeah. The way he got across and his distribution was obviously very good. His command of the area, so yeah, I think it's 7. He didn't really have like a great deal to do, but sometimes that's harder when you're not called upon as much and you have to pull something out of the bag. Because as soon as I saw Chilwell in there, I thought that's a goal. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was a really good save.
Yeah. We'll go with Ben White next. GunnerKing, rating for Ben White.
I'll probably go with a 7 again.
Happy days, Brenny.
I thought it was fairly solid. Did well defensively. Helped Saka when he was going forward. Yeah, I think probably a 7. Didn't do anything like outstanding, but was just solid.
Brenny, what's your rating for Ben?
I just echo what King said, man. It's a solid 7 for me. He didn't do anything wrong yesterday. The White Saka partnership was flowing yesterday, but yeah, solid 7.
Fair enough. Zinchenko, Brenny.
Oh. Well, there was only that error for the goal, but other than that, I thought he did well last night. He did very well last night. For me, it's a 7.
GunnerKing?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of people will look at a performance. They'll see like a mistake, and they will just judge it solely on that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've never been like that. Look, I know there's always going to be deficiencies with Zinchenko defensively because he's inherently a midfielder. Again, you got to know what you can expect from players before you judge them. You know what I mean? Like, he is asked as a midfielder to, in most transitions, he is in midfield. He's not in defence. So there's going to be space behind him, number one. And he's not going to have that acumen of a Ben White or a Tomiyasu or a Tierney playing as a left back because he's not a defender by trade. So it was really slack, though. He was ball watching. It was so basic. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to remove criticism for it. I can understand if he was committed to trying to get the ball and didn't quite get there, but he just literally was ball watching. As the ball went over the top of him. And, even when Madueke received it, he made no attempt to press him or shut him down. He kind of just thought Ramsdale's going to bail me out here, and he didn't. And I didn't like that. But the rest of his game, I thought he was good. Supporting the midfield well, linking up with Jorginho, Xhaka on that side well, supporting Trossard, Martinelli when he came on well. I think a 7, fair enough.
Happy days. Gabriel GunnerKing, we'll start with you on that one.
I thought he played well yesterday. I think him and Kirill, I thought were the two best parts of our defense, like as a unit. I'm going to give him an 8.
Okay, happy days.
Yeah. I think
Brenny?
I think he was good.
Yeah,
Brenny, what about you, mate?
Me, yeah, I thought he played very well yesterday. You know, they Kirill and Gabriel nullified the threat. Well, there was no threat really from Chelsea's front line, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I'd say 8 as well. I thought he played really well.
Happy days. We'll move into midfield. So Jorginho, we'll start with you, Brenny.
Well, did we do
Kirill?
Kirill?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, my fault. Yeah, we'll go Kivior. Sorry, Brenny.
Kivior, he gets an 8 for me. He came in like he'd been in the side for weeks, you know, and struck up a really good partnership with Gabriel in the middle, and largely to them as well. The whole back line, we can play the high line again, and yeah, apart from Chelsea's goal, I mean, we and Chilwell, we never looked like we was going to get breached at all, and yeah, they both get 8. Centre half pairing, 8 for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 8. Okay, we'll move on to Jorginho. So we'll start with you, GunnerKing, with Jorginho.
I'm giving him an 8 as well. I thought he was exceptional. I've been saying to ages to a lot of Chelsea fans that I speak to on a day-to-day on TikTok when they were all saying, "Oh, thank God Arsenal are taking him off our hands. You know, we've got him off our books." The thing is, when he came to us, I just thought, would he fit our system because is he mobile enough? You know, like to kind of, cover spaces. But like his quality as a footballer, I've never questioned. You know, like his technical ability, his range of passing. His ability to execute passes, even when under pressure. And like what surprised me with him is even though he doesn't have the mobility, like he makes up for it in spades in anticipation and awareness. Like he just moves his body. He makes these very slight movements that make it seem like he's covered so much distance in so little time. But it's just because his mind is working very early. Like he's seeing moves far ahead. And I think that's what he uses a lot to make interceptions. But it's actually surprised me how good he is at this. And I think, as I said, when he's got Zinchenko, Partey, and Xhaka was dropping a bit to support him as well, Odegaard was dropping a bit to support him as well. Fits really well in our system. And going forward as well, a lot of things that Chelsea fans were saying as he always makes backwards and side-to-side passes. No, he was making a lot of incisive passes into the final third, especially in the first half. So yeah, I'm giving him a. I thought he was one of our best players yesterday.
Fair enough. Brenny?
Yeah, 8 for me. He held it together. Like I said earlier on, he just to echo what King just said just now. Yeah, he was. I thought he was superb yesterday. You know, and also it's one of them ones where you kind of. I actually thought he would have a good performance because I can't recall the last time he started a game, but you always want to impress. You always want to impress the boss, you know. And even though Partey was on the bench and Partey did come on, you know, you want that starting 11. You know, you want to be in the starting 11. You've got to try and prove something. And Jorginho, for me, put in a performance. I wouldn't be surprised if he was to start against Newcastle on Sunday. But yeah, 8 for me. I thought he was solid.
Okay,
I think he had that motivation to show Chelsea what they were missing as well. And I think
exactly.
Certainly did that. Did that.
Okay, Brenny, we'll move to Xhaka now.
He gets an 8 from me. Involved in all 3 goals. He always wanted the ball. He was in their faces as well. And yeah, he's for for me, he's continued to his best ever season at the Arsenal, and yeah, I think he thoroughly deserves an 8.
GunnerKing.
Yeah, I'd echo that sentiment as well. I think he worked really hard, did a lot defensively, did have to drop a little bit deeper just to kind of help Jorginho out a bit.
Yeah,
He didn't have the same mobility as Partey, so was fairly disciplined in the way he did that as well. And I think that's one thing that's improved massively this season. Like, yeah, he still has his moments. He still had that Anfield moment. But for the most part, if you're looking at like an aggregate the whole season, like it's disciplined performances like this that he's put in more than he hasn't, if that makes sense. You know, like so. Yeah, like just his all-round facets to the game, his leadership in that midfield. I thought he was spot on yesterday.
Okay, we're going to start with Odegaard for you, GunnerKing.
He's getting a 9. I think the way he took his goals, he did that really well. I think what we're seeing a bit more from Odegaard, like that, you know, this guy, man, he gets too much. Like for me, he's our best player. I know a lot of people would say Saka, Partey, Martinelli, Saliba. No, it's Odegaard. He's our best player. Like in terms of like his ability range, it's insane. You know what I mean? Like whether it's pressing, you know, whether it's one-touch passing, long passing, dribbling, shooting, you know, like his IQ, his vision, like he's just got everything an attacking player needs. You know, like you know, the physical side of the game, you can see he's worked on. You know, his pace, his athleticism, his strength, hold-up play. They've all improved. But for me, a lot of people are like, oh, we want to see him get more goals, so he's done that. We want to see him turn up in more big games. If you look at like the assist against Liverpool at the Emirates, if you look at the game against Tottenham, you know, the opening goal at White Hart Lane where we don't win. If you look at the other day, you'll say it's only Southampton, but we were 3-1 down in the 80th minute. He comes, he steps up, he scores, and that, you know, sort of triggers the revival. And again, yesterday, you know, against Chelsea, we were in the ascendancy, but it was like, are we actually going to get a goal here? Like, you know, it's looking like if any team's going to get a goal, it's us. But he steps up. And I think you are starting to see him do this in big games. People aren't noticing it because what they do is they kind of stay stuck in their own mindset of this is what we've been seeing, where he hasn't been stepping up in big games enough. But there is an incremental improvement. Maybe Southampton's not a big game, but that was a big moment. Do you understand? To scoring where someone had to, you know, to at least get something from that game. And it was him, the captain. That's why we put the armband on. And yesterday, that was another example of you know, like him listening, you know, like I need to shoot more. You know, didn't take a touch first time. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just, you know, didn't put his laces straight through it. Opened up his shoulder. Used his instep to guide it. Put a lot of power in it still, but not too much, so that you could aim it properly. And that's what I mean. It's just a technician. You know, to think all that through. When the ball's rolling to you on the ground, you're kind of imagining that in your mind. Do you know what I mean? It sounds easy when I'm saying it, but it's not. Like, trust me, you got, you know, most people would want to take a touch in that situation. You know, like, you know, most people would probably think I'm just going to lace it. If I hit it hard enough, it's bound to hit the target. But he's like, no, I'm going to like use more of a cultured finish. And if I don't take the touch, I'm just going to use the pace of the ball as it's rolling along the ground to guide it, so I can hit it softer, but hit it sweeter. The pace that the ball's been moving at along the ground is going to carry as I strike it. These things, man, like he's a very clever player, very, very clever player. Like, and you saw that yesterday. And again, he works hard when you don't have the ball. You know, he's the first in a defender's face trying to get it back or forcing them to make an error, forcing him into a long ball. That's why Chelsea were making so many long balls in the first half, you know, because they just couldn't get around him. And then Xhaka. So, yeah, I think he was our man of the match yesterday. You know, I think there were other close ones. Jorginho and Kiro, I think, are the closest. But, yeah, I thought he was just a bit cut above everyone else.
Fair enough. Brenny, Odegaard?
9 out of 10 from me as well. And yeah, what King just said just now, 100%, 100% agree. I mean, it's not just the way he took his goals. He just, he wanted the ball every time. Whenever he gets the ball, there's well, there's so much that he does with the ball as well. And I do, and when I would go with, I think he's, I would say when you talk about best players, I get what King means in terms of he's consistent as well. I find, and yeah, Bukayo Saka has been on, he has gone up levels this season. But when you talk about consistency, for me, I would say the most consistent performer we have at the club this season overall has been Odegaard, and also it was a captain's performance as well. And he's not as vocal as Zinchenko, but I tell you what Odegaard, I was impressed with what he did before kickoff. Whatever was said when he got everyone in the huddle, it wasn't Zinchenko doing the talking; it was the captain Odegaard himself. So he whatever he said, it inspired himself and the rest of them yesterday. So, but yeah, 9 out of 10 for me, captain's performance.
Happy day. Trossard now with you, Branny.
Trossard, he gets a solid 7 for me. I thought he was industrious. I liked the way he was switching positions at times with Xhaka. Always gets himself into good positions. Wherever, it's like he knows exactly where the ball's going to go, where he's going to receive the ball, whether it be from Xhaka, Jorginho, Zinchenko. No, I thought he did well yesterday. But, yeah, solid 7.
GunnerKing, Trossard.
Yeah, I think I would go with a 7 as well. Yeah, I think he's come on leaps and bounds, since he's come to us. I think, he's been another one. There's probably been chomping at the bit for more game time. He equipped himself well. And it's good, to have that balance on that side with Martinelli and Trossard. Trossard also being able to mix it up, play as an orthodox striker like Jesus does. And those three all being able to interchange their position. I think that's a really healthy balance. And what we need to do is establish a similar sort of balance on the right-hand side where someone can come in like Trossard does on the left. I'm not going to say there isn't. It's not like there's a quality gap because Trossard plays with a bit more nous. Like he's a bit more experienced. So there isn't a drop because Martinelli sometimes, he'll get his head down. Whereas Trossard, I think there's more awareness with him, where he's just been around the block a bit more. So we're not really talking about a quality gap on the left-hand side anymore, which is impressive, for me. And I think the same with if you play him up front, which is great. There's been talk that, he can even play in Xhaka's position because he's so effective in the press as well. He doesn't have the ball. So, and he does kind of find himself in there in certain transitions as well. So yeah, I think, really good. And I hope we can kind of, as I say in the summer, look at that as something to do on the right-hand side as well. Because I think then if we do that, we are really cooking with gas. Do you know what I mean? We can go the distance for a full season.
Yeah.
These guys can kind of get mixed and matched in the way that Martinelli is now, and that's going to keep them performing at top level for the whole season. And Trossard's really impressed me since he's come in January. Way beyond any measure. I was so invested in the stocks of getting Mudryk that I was very deflated, when he came, in all honesty. But he completely won me over with his performances. I don't really think there's been a bad performance for him since he's come, really. So yeah, Ros, I think I'll go with a 7. Just a solid performance.
Something you've just said there, and I think me and James will talk about at the end of the season. So, GunnerKing, make sure you listen out for it because it is to do with Mudryk and it is to do with Trossard. People have this notion that it was Trossard was the backup to Mudryk. absolute codswallop. And you'll hear about that at the end of the season when me and James have a chat about it. Right, we're going to go over to Saka now. So, GunnerKing, rating for Saka.
I'm going to give him a 7. I think he was good. You could see what he was trying to do. He's working hard. He was a bit unlucky with a few shots as well that he took really well, and he was really an industrious performance. But yeah, I do feel like he's a bit tired. I'm not like saying like he did anything like bad or anything. I just think like he's looking to shoot a lot, and like I wouldn't say he's snapping at them, but yeah, like I think like he did. Like there were some moments. I think there was one shot in the second half where he just kind of blitzed past like 3 people, and I think he did force a save for that one as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, like really good work down the right hand side. Solid performance, but I just think like Odegaard, probably Jesus as well. Maybe even Trossard were like a bit more effective, but he was still doing his thing.
Right, Brenny, what about you for Saka?
Yeah, solid 7. I thought he was he wasn't at his best, but I thought he did well yesterday, especially with the I like at times with his and Ben White's partnership, which I've loved all season, especially with the overlap, and I thought there were times where he could have had a couple of chances himself, because especially where he kept because he had Chilwell, but I think also it's because he's also played a lot of games this season, and I did not want him to start yesterday because of that as well. But he started. I thought he did okay, because I wanted to be fully fresh for Newcastle on Sunday. But hopefully he can have a 9 out of 10 performance on Sunday.
Okay,
but
so we'll move.
Solid 7 for me.
Okay, happy days. So we'll move on to Jesus. So Brenny,
I'm giving him an 8, not just for the goal. This guy is a warrior. He's an absolute warrior. It's not often he has mares. I know we know he didn't have his best game last week against City. I thought at times he was trying too hard in that fixture. Maybe wanted to show Pep what he was missing, but nah, he weren't missing. He weren't missing yesterday. He is just a he's just a force. He's just an unstoppable force when he's at his best. And to come back from injury the way he has, and he's still prepared to fight. Listen, man, this guy, he'll fight on in our remaining games, and as well as Odegaard, I think he's a key player. He's going to be key for us in getting these 4 wins that we so desperately need. Obviously, we need to finish as high as we can, but yeah, man, I've run out of superlatives for this guy. Seriously, 8 out of 10 for me.
GunnerKing, Jesus.
Yeah, I echo that as well. Took his goal really well, worked really hard, led the line well, caused constant problems with the ball, without the ball. Wasn't giving defenders much time and space to pass or play out the back, especially in the first half. Missed a couple of chances, but look, I maintain. I think a pre-season working with Arteta on his finishing more fully. Next season, we're going to see more goals from him. Took his goal well, kind of hung in there, was alive to the danger, and got there. So yeah, I think 8's a solid assessment of his performance.
Okay, so we'll move into the subs. So the first sub was Martinelli, came on for Trossard in the 59th minute. Very quick numbers for this because obviously these are subs. So GunnerKing, Martinelli's rating.
Yeah, I think a solid 7. I think he did cause some threat when he came on, like tired legs. He was finding space and sort of working well down that left-hand side. So yeah, I think a 7.
Brenny?
Yeah, I agree. 7 as well. He worked hard when he came on, as he always does, and yeah, he was causing problems on that left-hand side. So yeah, solid 7 for me.
Happy days. Next one, Tierney came on for Zinchenko in the 73rd minute. So rating for Tierney, please, Brenny.
For me, I would say I'd give him a 7 as well. He did nothing wrong when he came on, I felt, and he was just cool and calm, solid as always.
Happy days. GunnerKing?
Yeah, same. I think like Zinchenko, I think got pulled. It's a shame. Like I feel like he should come on sooner because the Liverpool game and this one, where Zinchenko has been caught making that mistake, and the thing is, like, if you're asking him to invert in the midfield and then cover the left back space, he is going to tire quicker. But yeah, like Tierney comes on, he just looks a lot more assured defensively. So yeah, and I think he had to in that last bit, because they were really pushing to get back into the game. So yeah, 7 I think's another fair assessment for Tierney as well.
Fair enough. The next substitution was Nelson come on for Saka in the 74th. It was a double substitution, but it's down to literally minutes on this. So we're going to go with you first, GunnerKing, with Reece.
Reece Nelson, I'd give a 7 as well. Nothing outstanding, but yeah, like just solid. Came on fresh legs, and yeah, like defended well as well. Coming off the bench as well.
Happy days, Brenny.
Yeah, 7 as well for me, and yeah, I thought he just came on. At least he was playing. There was no pressure. You have to play under pressure, and and as always, full of running, and yeah, and he did defend well also. So yeah, solid 7.
Okay, well, I'm going to take the referee's decision on the next one, or the next 2, because they only had like 5-10 minutes. So we're not going to give Rob Holding a rating, but he did come on for Gabriel in the 85th minute. That sub should have happened earlier for me. And obviously, Thomas Partey came on for Jorginho. Again, I'm not even going to rate him because it's just not fair enough to rate when they hardly play. The final rating is for Mikel Arteta. I'm going to start with you, Brenny, on Mikel. What did you think of his rating for yesterday's team selection and just how he orchestrated the whole team yesterday?
9 out of 10. He set up the team well. It wasn't. I don't think it was a brave decision bringing in Jorginho Kyrgios. Yeah. And with Kyrgios, we got to forget as well. I mean, well, he must be doing something right to be a Polish international as well,
Yes.
So I would have given him 10 if we'd have scored more than 5.
Yeah.
Because they were there for the taking, this Chelsea side. But yeah, so 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay, GunnerKing, rating for Mikel.
I would give him a 10. And the reason is, I think I do agree with Brenny. I feel like we could have scored more, but I do like the fact that he was brave enough to change it up. Because we've been asking for it, and I think it was a big game to make these decisions in, and every one he got right. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was any question or any doubt when I watched, Kyrgios or Jorginho or Trossard. Look, Chelsea they're in a bad way, but they've got quality players. They're probably just being poorly managed and coached. There's no system there, but they do have individual quality. It is a London derby. They have been, the London team that's been in the ascendancy for the last 2 decades. So I think it was a very brave decision to make those changes. And that's why I'd give him a 10, because, most people probably would have fought to do that, in that game. But I think he needs credit for that. And I think he needs to be a bit braver and do that a bit more. So, yeah, okay. I personally would give him a 10 for that.
Well, for the first time, the ref has to get involved, and I'm giving him a 9 because I think he should have brought Gabriel off earlier. So that's why I'm going to bark him down to 9. And I also agree with Brenny about just going for the juggler. If he's got more goals, I would have been happier. But but both of you like 9 and 10, so it's still a good score for Mikel. So I'm happy with that. We're going to get through some comments before we wrap up for the day. Minerals FC, Whamsdale needs to sometimes improve his penalty stopping. He was a 6. He's not as bad as another funny enough, he's a Man United fan. Please thrash Newcastle this weekend. Thank you. Colm said, did you tell Arteta he owes me £25? Now, that's to do with a bet that he was talking about on the watch along yesterday. I think he needed like a certain amount of goals or something, and he didn't get it. So he reckons Mikel owes him £25. Tony's saying here, people, if you don't like looking at their faces, absolutely charming. This will be on Spotify later. Don't worry, Bobby and Brenny. I think you're handsome dudes. GunnerKing, I think that's right. I don't know how you say that. Come on, speed up. I want to watch this game. He's asking, have you got any bets on? I'm not even going to put.
Was it still 0-0, by the way?
Yeah, it's
0-0
half
half
time. Yeah, they've hit the post twice.
Beautiful. Pray for another 45 minutes of that, man.
Yeah, you guys walked all over Chelsea yesterday. If they don't get results versus Bournemouth or Forest, they will be fighting relegation come end of May. They're fighting it now, to be fair. What's this one? Just goes to show how much. Yeah, exactly. Read somewhere that we've won all 8 of the matches that Trossard has started, so that's good. West Ham holding their ground so far against City. That's what we need him to do. Arteta would have been an 8, but he goes down to so he's basically going for the same reason that I am. That GunnerKing, no fave, no case in it. No face. No case in it.
Oh no! It's just the light in here. Like you can see there. Like it's not good.
To be fair, Mia, he has had his face on most of the stream. It's just he's just turned it off for a little bit.
There you go, Mia.
And Colm is saying it's 0-0. Guys, really appreciate it. My pod brother, love ya. So we're going to say to Brenny, where can you people find you, mate?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram. Been doing a little bit, but mainly Twitter, and of course you can find me here on the Armoury TV.
Excellent stuff. GunnerKing, this could take about 10 hours. Where can they find you, mate?
So GunnerKing14 on Twitter, GunnerKing14 on TikTok, GunnerKing14 on Instagram. Not really doing a major deal on Instagram. I'm really going to kick on into that next season, but yeah, mainly Twitter and TikTok. Deluded Gooners channel. I'll be jumping on there. I'll be jumping back on there for a reaction for the Newcastle game next week. Obviously, like when I jump on AFTV for fan cams. So I'm on there as well. So yeah, a bit of here, there, and everywhere at the moment. And yeah.
No worries. I said it'd take about 10 hours. I was right. Mia saying it's okay. I've seen you in real life, GunnerKing. Okay, I don't know what that's about. I'm guessing you two know each other. I'm going to leave that there.
From
Whatever's going on here. As for me, you'll see me tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow. This was meant to be my day off, but unfortunately, I've had to step in. You'll see me back tomorrow with Kendall Rowan, a Newcastle fan from the overlap. So that will be a very good preview tomorrow for Newcastle. I'll be back with Brenny, G, and Neil for Benchwarmers podcast on Friday for a preview again on Newcastle. And then on Sunday, I'll be back for the watch along, joined by Moss probably as well on Across the Pond Sports Talk. So yeah, you'll see me again as always on here. But guys, as always, before we go out, come on, you Gunners. Take care, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Come on, you.
Actually, before I wrap out, I actually want to see the votes because I knew there was, and everyone's gone for Odegaard 62%. So there we go. So now we're definitely going because I wanted to make sure everyone knew. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.